Griffin Steinfeld. Today we're driving my 2017 GMC Denali HD diesel and wanted to do a little review on this thing because I'm completely in love with this truck. By far the best vehicle I've ever owned. It's comfortable, it's quiet, reliable, fast, and good looking. I mean, what more can anyone else want? This is the first year of the L5P Duramax diesel from GM. They basically started with a clean sheet of paper and developed this engine from the ground up. And this thing is absolutely insane. 445 horsepower, 910 foot-pounds of torque off the showroom floor. And as far as I know, this is the fastest diesel production truck in the world, which is pretty cool. And later, we're gonna do a 0 to 60 test to see what this thing will actually do. Why did I buy this truck? Because I love diesels. I had a 12-valve Cummins when I was in high school, and just, I'm a diesel fan. Towing, we tow a lot with the race cars, to and from tracks, also helping people out, and occasionally like going off-road here and there. This truck, when I towed with it for the first time, it was beautiful. It was a sight to see, a sight to feel. Didn't even feel like there's a trailer back there. I had a 24-foot enclosed, the truck in there, tools, spares, the whole 9 yards. It weighed about 10,000 pounds. And this truck did it with a smile on its face. This truck is rated to tow, I believe, 32,000 pounds with a fifth wheel, and 20-something thousand pounds off the bumper, which is absolutely insane. These trucks, both, all Ford, Dodge, and Chevy, these trucks can all tow more than they can stop. I mean, that's the true rating of the truck, is how much they can stop, because these motors are so unbelievably powerful, and there's so much potential for power with these motors. Speaking of potential, I am a racer at heart. I love tinkering and building stuff and squeezing horsepower out of everything. I discovered Banks released this new little Derringer. Basically, it's a little tuner. I was all over it. Ordered it right away and was seeing what all the excitement was about. And when I installed this on the truck, it was a pretty pleasant surprise, to be honest. I think they rate that little tuner to add about 60 horsepower and 112 foot-pounds of torque, and it does it. They are not lying. Definite little kick in the pants. So if you have an L5P, Chevy or GMC, well worth the money. I highly recommend that. Ride quality, rides like a caddy. I did turn the torsion keys up on this to kind of level it out. I brought the front end up about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, and it sits pretty, rides good. I went too far with it, and it just kind of rides like an unloaded dump truck in the front end. It's real rough, real abrupt, and it's not too enjoyable. So I backed the keys down a little bit, lowered the front end about 1/2 inch, and that took care of all of it. The only other thing I would really do to this truck is maybe a small lift and some nice wheels and tires. That's it. I don't really see myself doing a full build on this truck. It's plenty fast, it makes plenty of power, and it's a ton of fun. This truck is so much fun to drive. It's easy to drive, easy to tow with, and there's so much technology in this truck. If I had complaints of this truck, which I do, I got a couple complaints. One would probably be fuel economy. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat from people saying, oh, if you care about fuel economy, don't buy a truck or whatever. Well, that's not necessarily true, because when I'm doing long distance hauls, fuel economy is a concern, especially when I'm towing and it goes down dramatically. Fuel mileage is something I do care about. And I average about 20 to 23 mpg on the highway, unloaded, just normal driving, not horsing around, not totally driving like a grandma, but between 65 and 75 miles an hour, I get about that gas mileage. Now, towing about 10,000 pounds, 9 to 10,000 pounds at those same 65 to 75 mile an hour speeds, I get about 11 to 12 mpg. For a totally stock truck, emissions compliant, it's not too bad. We're getting a new trailer in the beginning of the new year. That trailer alone weighs, I think, 8,000 pounds empty. So it's gonna be a good bit heavier when it's all loaded up with the cars and the spares and tools and the whole 9 yards. So we're gonna see how bad gas mileage really gets. As far as modding goes, modifying these trucks, recently HP Tuners was able to get into the ECMs of these trucks, because for the longest time they were so heavily locked down from GM that no one can tune them, no one can tamper with them or mess with them, which is exactly what GM wanted to minimize warranty claims. Because when you start hot rodding stuff, you start breaking things, and well, we're not that dumb, and we'll go put the car back to stock and go to the dealership and say, I don't know what happened. Well, that's what they wanted to minimize. So finally, after 2 years of this truck being out on the road, HP Tuners finally found a way to get into these ECUs to modify the calibration, aka tune them. and the results are absolutely insane. These trucks are making, I believe, 670 horsepower at the tire and almost 1,300 plus foot-pounds of torque, something around there. I think, you know, they're still, you know, pushing their truck further and further every single day, so there's new numbers coming out every day. And for a bone stock truck with nothing but pretty much intake and exhaust and a tune, that is insane. We are so spoiled with technology now that 500 horsepower is nothing. 1,000 foot-pounds of torque is nothing compared to, you know, today's standards and what we're playing with 5, 10, 15 years ago. And I remember with my 12 valve, it was the world's biggest thing to break 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, and these trucks are doing it with just this little Derringer that I have. It re-rates the motor at 1,005 foot-pounds of torque. Now add an intake on and a couple other little things, you're at 1,050, maybe 1,100 foot-pounds of torque with just literally like less than $1,000 worth of parts into it. As far as my other complaints go, I don't particularly love the infotainment system here. It takes a long time for my phone to connect to the truck and show up on the screen. Like if I were to use navigation or play music or something, it takes maybe a couple minutes or a couple tries to get it to connect. That might just be my phone. I don't have the newest iPhone, so that could be it. And pretty much my only other complaint would be the dash lights and the center console lights dim super quick when you go under a bridge, because the light sensor is on the dash, not up in the mirror, up in the rear view mirror. And if I go under a bridge, the lights will dim super quick like they're supposed to, because they think it's nighttime out. But if the sun is behind you, or if you have super dark tinted windows and you keep driving and you're out of that tunnel, they will stay dim because that little sensor still thinks it's nighttime, which is the world's most annoying thing, because it's clearly not. It's daytime, it's bright out, and seeing these gauges get a little bit tougher to see, especially with the GMC gauges that are all digital. Those just couple few complaints, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I love this truck. I plan on keeping this truck for a long time and putting a ton of miles on it. I've had one check engine light in the past 30,500 miles I've had this truck, and it was simply because of a little software glitch. No parts failed, no, you know, the user messing up, me. So one check engine light, 30,000 miles, just a simple reflash from the dealer, and it's been good ever since. I'm totally happy with that. All right, guys, so I wanted to introduce to you one of my favorite parts of the truck, the Banks Derringer and iDash tuner. There's so much you can do here. It monitors everything. It data logs stuff to go back and look at files. It's a diagnostic tool, and I'll just show you around here a couple little pages. We'll go back here. Gauge layout, we can configure from 2 gauges up to 8 gauges. And everything monitors simultaneously. If we go back here, data logging, we could start data logging for as pretty much long as we want. I mean, this thing will literally data log for hundreds of hours straight. Diagnostics, check any check engine lights, any codes, anything that's going on with the Derringer or the truck. We can look at injector balance rates. So if you are thinking your injectors are going out, you can go to this page, check out what's going on here, and if you see any injector you know, way off, plus or minus, that instantly tells you to go look at that injector, so it saves a lot of headache. We'll go back here, and alerts tells you if EGTs are getting too hot, pressures are getting too high or low, and then this thing will really pay for itself. We can toggle up and down for power levels from the Derringer, and to be honest, I don't know why they put level 5, 4, 3, 2, and well, stock, because this thing lives on level 6 even when I tow. Next, I'm going to do 2 0 to 60 tests, one on stock power, and then we're going to crank the Derringer up all the way to level 6 for the second test to see if this thing is actually faster. Derringer set to stock. We'll click it into 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive shift and process, good. And I will reset the timer. So we will safely move out here to the road in Mexico that is closed under professional supervision. Okay, I'm going to try to do this with 2 hands. Give it some boost. impressive. All right, now let's crank this thing up to level 6. Give her some boost. Wow, that was definite, big difference. Can't even talk right now, words. All right, everyone, that concludes today's video. I had a lot of fun filming, so expect to see a lot more vehicle review videos shortly. See you next time.